Welcome to the Courageous Hustler podcast. I'm your host, Sandra Ocasio from sandraocasio.com, founder of the Courageous Hustler brand. Our mission is to empower you to recognize that you can become everything you've ever dreamed impossible in your life. Embrace and embody the courageous hustler in you. In this community, fear does not stop our purpose. We just learn how to walk with it. This show is going to feature courageous hustlers from all around the world who have overcome adversity and achieved massive success by being brave and unstoppable. Courageous Hustler is a mindset-focused, open conversation podcast. To stay up to date on all upcoming episodes, make sure to subscribe, tune in every week, and with that being said, let's get on to today's episode. So there's going to be moments like today that I know I'm going to just be led to do a recording. I was not planning on recording today. In fact, I was planning on just planning out the week, doing what I need to do. I've been working all weekend, mainly because I've been getting organized on some of the projects that I'm currently working on. And as I was going through that process, I was like, you know what? There's something that I really just need to say, right? As I told you guys from the beginning, there's been times that I have felt like I needed to tell my story, tell more stories, just speak, right? And really, there's hundreds of sermons that I had in the shower that no one's going to ever get to hear because I did not hit record. And I was listening to church. I was listening to a service earlier, and the pastor started talking about quantum leaps. And that had me thinking about so many different things in that moment. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, it's so crazy because in this moment I could relate to quantum leaps, right? Like, I can, and for those of you that don't know what quantum leap, it's a term that's used. I've seen it be used in science, but I'm seeing it used a lot in the coaching world. And basically the meaning of quantum leaps is an abrupt change, or like a sudden increase, or a dramatic advance, or even an abrupt transition, right? So, and the reason I say this is because I'm experiencing a lot of changes. They're all sudden increase in a lot of different areas in my life. And I'm not complaining, but what I'm saying, the point that I'm trying to get to is I resonated with what he was talking about, because sometimes while we are in that season of immediate action or immediate obedience or immediate execution, we don't tend to celebrate or even take a moment to say, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I'm building. I'm proud of what I'm doing. And what we tend to move on to is saying, what's next, right? And it also reminded me of actually it was like 2 years ago or maybe a year ago, I can't remember exactly. I was at a live event and Tony Robbins was there, and he was talking about how we're constantly in that mode of what's the next goal to reach, what's the next thing, and when you reach it, when you reach fulfillment or happiness or whatever that reaching the goal feeling makes you feel, that feeling lasts anywhere between 6 minutes and 6 months. And I thought to myself, like, wow, I am going through quantum leaps of changes, emotions, and within my household. Like, there's a lot going on in my house right now. I have one daughter that I'm moving to college soon. I have another one that's in nursing school, and she's getting ready to do her own thing. Like, there's a lot going on in my household. And so it's like now I'm transitioning into like also just not having the normal routine that I normally have, right? And so like, the last couple of episodes we talked about self-awareness. And when I get to that place, I actually do start, because I love to overanalyze a lot of the things a lot of the emotions and feelings that I'm feeling. I also give myself space and permission to feel what I need to feel, and then figure out a way, whether it's a negative or a positive feeling, allowing myself to feel it, identify it, and then release it if I need to. And so when I was listening to everything this pastor was talking about this morning, it really hit for me, because I feel like sometimes we're praying, and whether you're a believer or not, or whether, whatever your belief system is, sometimes we're praying for quantum leaps, right? We're praying for the power and the presence of Holy Spirit to come and bless, or for God to bless what we are currently working on, and we're not even ready for that kind of growth at times. We're not even ready for what that comes with, the responsibility that it comes with. So it's like, the reason I wanted to share this is because sometimes, one, we're not ready for it, and two, we're not specific with our prayers. And so I really felt very led to come in and share this, because I know I'm not alone in this feeling. I know that in this moment, there's many other people going through quantum leaps, and they don't know how to manage it. I certainly don't know how to manage all the things that I am going through, but this is why I have coaches. This is why I have a therapist. This is why I have a life coach that I consult with. Like, this is why I get the support that I need in order to actually help me rationalize, or even be able to like see the vision better, right? And the other part of that too is like, because I am in this immediate action, immediate obedience season, I know that I'm also experiencing a lot of clarity, and that clarity is coming with, well, what am I really doing with this podcast? Like, what am I doing with my business? I've actually just opened up a new business. Like, there's so many different things. And so as I'm actually getting clarity. Like, there is so much power in the doing. There's so much clarity in the doing. And so, I wanted to come in here and give you some encouragement that if you are experiencing anything, if any of this resonated with you, and you are experiencing a lot of change, and maybe an increase in some capacity in some area of your life, and you don't know how to control all the things, or you don't know what to do, give yourself permission to just be. It is okay. Like, I know that time is the only resource that we can't replenish. I get it. I understand the power of our time. And for those of us that are in that season of like, I gotta go, I don't have time to sit here and think about all these feelings and think about all these emotions. Like, there's been plenty of times throughout the last month, to be honest with you, that I've been overthinking, like, oh shoot, am I gonna do that thing? Actually, a month ago tomorrow is the first time I announced that the podcast was coming out, and then the podcast released on July 15th. And in 15 days of me being live in the podcast, it's now been heard in 7 different countries, and that's all thanks to you guys, right? But the point that I'm getting to is like, a lot of things are running and in my mind, and I'm also like, wait a minute. I have to like recognize that I am doing a lot. I have to recognize that I don't know everything. I have to recognize that it is okay to give myself grace, to give myself space, permission to feel, to process, to all the things, right? And I think that most of the time, this feeling that I have right now, because I recognize it and because I've been here before, is the same exact reason why I have also lost the momentum. And so I share this with you because with quantum leaps comes that losing of focus and momentum. And I want to come here and give you some encouragement and tell you that it is okay if you're in that season right now. If you're finding yourself like, man, I just have to go, I need to go. And maybe you find yourself in that season where God is blessing what you currently doing, and he only blesses what needs to grow, right? He's never going to bless for you to stay stuck somewhere. And so it's so important to recognize, like, that's the season I'm in. Don't lose momentum. Don't lose your mojo of keep going. I woke up today, and this is a little crazy. I woke up today at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask me why. I felt a nudge. I was like, you know what? I could sit here and I couldn't go back to sleep. I could sit in bed and maybe listen to a podcast episode or listen to, listen to an audio, but whatever it is, I could have done that. But I actually woke up and I was like, well, no, the better choice for me today, being that I have certain goals I'm trying to meet, is go work. And the house is nice and quiet at that time. I worked until like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and people started emerging, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and give myself that break. Go ahead. And then now it's it's about 1 o'clock. The house is quiet again. Everyone's at the movies. And so I'm like, let me go ahead and record this new episode, right? Just because I'm trying to get consistent in actually doing this thing. I'm trying to build a muscle that I don't recognize. This is new to me. Podcasting is new to me. Recording and talking to myself. I know it's obviously going to be you guys listening to it, but it's new, right? And the same applies when you're doing something new with your business or your life or whatever. You're trying to drink more water and you don't know what that looks like. Well, you put reminders on your phone, or you find a way to make it where you are constantly drinking water, right? So I say all of this to say that it is so important as you are going through your quantum leap season to recognize that just like you had that exponential growth or exponential, momentum, you can lose it in the same kind of pace. You can lose it just as fast. And I have come to realize and recognize those seasons for myself, and I don't want to lose the momentum. So what I'm doing is surrounding myself with the support that I need so that I keep going. And the thing that I can recommend to you is figure out what is that support. Maybe for you that support looks like you hiring someone to come clean your house, or ordering your meals, or having your laundry a laundry service, or whatever it takes for you to be able to stay focused. It may require you having some tough conversations with family members and saying, hey, right now I'm laser focused on what I'm doing, and this is what my intention is, and this is why I'm so focused on this. My husband, and God bless him, let me tell you, shout out to him. This man, he knows when I'm laser focused. Like, it does not take a whole lot for him to understand those patterns that I go through, because he'll see that I'm like, working really late or waking up really early, and it's not like there's anything wrong with me or that I'm upset or mad. I'm just very quiet. When I'm very quiet, I'm very focused, and he's come to recognize that. And what I love is that he now understands that pattern that I go through. So he's so supportive. He now tries to minimize the noise, or he'll try to minimize our little boy coming and bugging me for things if he's home, right? Or not even bugging me, asking me for things. And even right now in this moment, he's like, I'm taking the kids to the movies. Like, how dope is that, right? And so finding the right support is so important in these seasons, because one thing I also recognize is that they don't come very often. I know that for some people, they have to find motivations in many different ways. For me, I find motivation within myself. I give myself pep talks. I try to motivate myself as much as I can. And as much as I try doing that, not always effective, right? It's not always like this is why I lean on the communities that I am part of. This is why I lean on my business besties. This is why I lean on therapy. This is why I have the support system that I have, so that I'm able to actually get back to focus, right? But my the reason I share this with you is because for you, that could be something you may want to look into. What support do you need? What support do you not have today that you could be getting that can help you elevate to the next level, right? And so sometimes we're afraid of asking for that help out of fear of getting judged or fear of someone saying, "Oh, well, you're always working," right? Like that's one thing that I used to always fear in the past, where it's like, "Oh, I don't want to ask for more support because technically," and here's the other part. I work from home, right? But just because I work from home does not mean that I have all this time. Like that's like this whole time concept is like this imaginary clock, and somehow my time also gets eaten up. And I do have 4 kids. I obviously my kids are not all little. The only one that's little is the 7-year-old. The one after that is 13, and then 18 and 22. So like my kids are not little. I no longer have little kids. But my point is, they always used to take up a lot of time when I would have to like bring them to school, or drive someone here, drive someone there, pick somebody up. Like I was constantly doing that. And so I started managing my time differently, and I started saying no more. And I also felt a lot of mom guilt by saying no. But I also knew that we needed to create better habits. We needed to start creating better routines. And if I want to actually achieve some of the goals that I'm trying to set myself up for, I have to vocalize, this is what I'm doing and this is what it requires. And I need you guys to support me in this. It does not mean they have to be part of the whole doing. It just means that whatever it is that you see me doing, don't distract me. Don't take my attention away from that with things that I know are sometimes they're nonsense, right? Like, and here's the thing, and please don't judge me for this, or actually, you know what? Go ahead and judge. Do what you need to do. But there's times where my little boy's like, "Hey, I want you to go watch this video," right? YouTube video. And it's some robotic noise and some shit, and it just sounds weird. And I'm like, okay, I just watched this for 2 minutes. And that adds up. Like, I know that's petty as hell, but I'm like, in my mind, I tell him, I'm like, I try to rationalize with him, and I tell him, what did I learn from that video? Like, and we actually try to get him away from watching those videos, because I feel like I'm getting dumber by watching them. I don't know what he sees in them. I want to derive his attention to something that's actually going to be productive, educational, and feed him better information. Obviously, the iPad itself is not even a good idea, but whatever, that's a whole nother conversation. So things like that, sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want disruptions, or I don't want interruptions, or I don't want, any of that. And so like, I have to talk to him. Even though he's 7, I still have to let him know I'm focused right now. I'm doing this right now. And you know what? This kid is so amazing. He's such an amazing child that now he recognizes when he sees that I'm like on calls, or he sees that I'm recording, or he sees that I'm doing something. He'll come in quietly, like, because his bedroom is very close to ours, and he's constantly in our bedroom. And my office is connected with my bedroom. And so it's like he's constantly very involved in my space, but he's very quiet. And so it's like, I so appreciate that, right? And then I also tell him, like, I also make sure I let him know, like, I would love for us to have a date, right? Like, I try to take my boys out on dates, because I want them to understand that whole process of, what it is to be out, what it is to be respectful, all of those things. And so like, I always give him that kind of, and it's not like a reward, because if anything, I should always be spending more time with them. But I feel like moms across the nation right now, if you work from home and your kids have been home all summer, you could probably relate to, we are so excited that y'all going back to school soon. We are all excited. In fact, I can't wait to find out who your teacher is. What kind of wine does she drink? Because I'm buying her 10 bottles. Okay? I can't wait. So I say all of that, all this ranting that I did today. I say all of this to say it is okay if you're going through a quantum leap season. Also recognize that a quantum leap season can come with a quantum leap decline, if that's even a thing, or with a loss of momentum. Don't lose your momentum. There's plenty of things you can put in place that's going to keep you focused and motivated so you can get forward and keep pushing forward. I don't know what I'm doing. Half of the things that I'm currently doing, I'm doing them out of obedience because God keeps telling me we're running out of time. I don't know why he keeps telling me we're running out of time. He keeps saying we're running out of time. I need you to continue talking. I need you to continue sharing with people all the things that you have in your mind. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do, right? I'm running in on obedience, right? And I don't have the plan. I don't have all the steps. I don't have all the steps, and I'm sitting here in this quantum leap season doing having all these erupt changes and erupt transitions, and I don't even know what the end result is. I'm literally leaning on just obedience. And I'm wrestling with the idea of I need to know all the steps, but he keeps telling me just keep going. Just keep going. Just continue to be obedient to what I'm telling you to do. And that's how crazy it is that that is the relationship that I have with God. And because there were so many seasons of me not being obedient that now I operate under only immediate obedience, immediate action. And that's where I'm at now, that I'm even seeing different. I'm moving around differently, to be honest with you. And so I hope that this gives you some kind of encouragement that there's many different things that you can do when you're finding yourself, and even when you're finding yourself in a season that you're like, I don't know how to get focused. I don't know how to get motivated. I don't even know how to even start, right? But what do you need to do? And this is where I even shared with you guys in episode 3, ask yourself better questions, right? Don't ask, why do I need to do that? Go ask, what do I need to do differently today so that I can wake up with more energy? I started taking B12 shots again. Those things have been a game changer for me. Every single time I go get a B12 shot, and I do these weekly now, but every time I go get a B12 shot, I am literally super energetic. I feel so much, I just feel like alive. It's so crazy. Obviously, I'm trying to also make sure I stay on top of my water and all of that. But I have come to realize certain little tiny things that amount to bigger things, that amount to me now waking up early in the morning. And when I mean early, I mean like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. That's early to go do what I need to do, right? And so, and I've come to realize that I have a lot of momentum during certain hours because there's no distractions, there's no social media, there's no clients sending me messages, there's no coaching calls, there's none of all that stuff that I normally do, right? And so I'm able to simultaneously work on a new podcast, work on a new business, continue serving the clients that I'm serving in the other business, continue being a mom, being a wife. Obviously, there's areas that I know I'm lacking right now, but I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to start doing that. But I want to give you the encouragement. What is it that you need to do to set up the day that you want to have, right? What type of days do you want to have? What type of goals are we trying to achieve here? What type of things are we trying to do? And what person do you need to become to reach those goals, right? So ask yourself that. What is it that you need to do differently, or who do you need to become to be able to get to that next level that you're trying to get to? So I really hope that this served you in any capacity. I know I ranted a lot. I always get scared that I'm ranting. See? Fear, right? And now I'm actually going to turn around and say that's not you. Somebody here needed to hear this word today. Someone here is walking away with feeling some type of like, that word was for me. And if this word was for you, please let me know. Send me a DM. You can find me at Funnels with Sandra on Instagram or at Courageous Hustler on Instagram. Either one works, or send us an email. Let us know. All the information for the show is in the show notes. Send me an email. Leave us a rating. Let us know if you're enjoying this podcast. And I can't wait until this next episode that's coming up. I know I'm kind of sliding this one in between, but this next episode that's coming up is going to be amazing. And we're going to get back to the step-up method. I know this was not part of the programming, but I felt like it was a word that needed to get out. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. And until then, stay courageous. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. As always, please go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All those handles are here on the show notes. And also make sure you give us a rating. We would love to be able to grow this community. Share this podcast with anyone you believe is going to be blessed by this information. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified of our next episodes dropping. And until next time, stay courageous.